St. Louis City Boys, what it do? From the arch to the booth, we talk about you. City Boys in the loop.
Shout out to the St. Louis City Boys podcast.
They're in your head just like Roman Berkey. This is a City Boys podcast.
City leads you into the City Boys podcast right now.
Kings, queens, and in-betweens, welcome back to the City Boys podcast. My name is Ethan Thornton, and today I am joined by Grayson and a very special guest, the fantasy man, the myth, the legend, Favian Renkel is here. He's originally based out of California in the Bay Area, but now he's in New York, covering the game from coast to coast. He's bringing MLS fantasy to the big stage. Meet Favian Renkel on his 48th podcast episode since the tour started. Unbelievable. Marcel Hartel work rate on you, Fabian. How are you doing tonight, boss?
Honestly, I'm doing great. Since this is a city podcast and the City Boys are here, I kind of want to shout out Hartel and St. Louis City. I thought they kind of, showed the world that, hey, they can compete this year. And in Kickbase, I mean, it was the first game, and we kind of saw like, wait, a lot of these guys are pretty serviceable, like I was not gonna touch some St. Louis guys, but I was completely wrong,
Yeah, I already captained Hartle for match day 1, so that paid off. Valum, my little sleeper, he's gonna pick up some assists later this season. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I'm not pressed.
Don't sleep on Simon Betcher, man. I'm telling you, a budget striker, very good for fantasy. Fabian, it's great to have you on here tonight on this episode. Like I said, we're gonna get to know you a little bit more. We want to get to know the man behind the app, and then I think it's gonna be really fun. We are going to build ourselves a 5-a-side team plus a goalkeeper, and this is kind of going to be a challenge for Fabian. He only has $100 million to do it in the budget, so make sure to stick around because this is going to be a fun ball knowledge test for Fabian. Are you guys ready? You guys excited?
A little nervous, I'm not gonna lie. A little nervous, but it should be good.
It's definitely a test. 100 mil is a bit much. I was drafting a full 11 with 250. And that was stressful. So, but before we get into that, let's go ahead and kick off this episode with a couple of questions for Mr. Renkel. Sir, you obviously have been very busy. This is the 48th podcast you've been on. You've covered soccer all over the United States, from LA, the Bay Area where you're from, all the way to New York where you're posted up now. Truly coast to coast. But I am curious how your love for the game began.
Oh, yeah. Look, I mean, the love for the game is something that, since I'm Uruguayan, it's kind of within my family. I do have my earliest memories of soccer. This is probably why I became like a reporter, because I remember scoring an own goal and then quitting. And I was like, yeah, I'm done. I passed the ball to the goalkeeper. I thought I was doing something. Goalkeeper wasn't paying attention. Goes to the back of the net. And that was my career, and yeah, no, crazy time. And honestly, I always think about like the World Cups in 2002, kind of waking up at 4 a.m. to watch with my family, and then also just like trying to get my friends to like soccer because it meant so much to me and my culture. Like I grew up with a lot of people who didn't like soccer, and it was like, no, dude, you got to pay attention to this. Like this is legit. And I kind of carry that same mentality with the way I tweet and the way I kind of write. It's like you have to find a way to get the casual sports fan to think it's important. And I think that is kind of what I am in the Twitter space too, like cultural importance and type of ball knowledge in that way.
Well, we do share something in common because my first goal ever in my career was also an own goal. So it is a rough way to start. But yeah, being Uruguayan, do you have a favorite Uruguayan player? Yeah,
man, Diego Forlan is ultimately insane. Like the run he had in 2010 with the Jubilani is something that will be forever remembered with any soccer fan. And it's something that reigns true with everyone in Uruguay. And But Diego Godin also is like my cousin's best man at the wedding. So
No way.
yeah. So like, I don't want to say I have ties, but like, Diego Godin is cool. You know, like
Yeah.
he always shouts me out and stuff. So that's what's up.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Man, that run with Forlan is unbelievable. Whenever I think of the 2010 World Cup, the Jabulani comes to mind, but that
Yeah.
specific top bins goal is just, I mean, it's one of the best World Cup goals ever, right? It's got to be.
Yeah, and the way it kind of moves in the air and the slow-mos they had on that. I think everybody remembers it. Yeah.
It's so iconic. And I think that the World Cup is prone to producing so many iconic moments like that. Obviously, the 1994 World Cup here in the United States is, it's not the only thing that spawned the MLS, but I think it was certainly a big factor in shaping the MLS as we know it today. Favian, we are just over 100 days out from a new iteration of the World Cup here in the United States.
Insane.
You are a journalist now. You're a sicko. What do you think the results of this upcoming World Cup will be? It's the biggest the World Cup has ever been. The MLS is the biggest it's ever been. What do you see happening after the World Cup?
Yeah, look, after the World Cup, I'm gonna be a little pessimistic with this one. I think with MLS, I do see it growing, but I don't think it's gonna grow to an extent that we all expect. Now, the one thing I do think is gonna grow in the United States is the amount of people just playing pickup soccer. I think pickup soccer is gonna overtake pickup basketball and being like the recreational
okay.
kind of sport around the country. I think people are starting to realize that you can play pickup soccer at an older age. You can definitely play on smaller pitches. And with the World Cup, I can see pickup soccer being kind of the mainstream thing to do after the World Cup
Wow.
because there's going to be so many pitches being made. I don't know if you guys seen it, but like there's so many content creators just making like pickup soccer content these days. Like
Okay.
that wasn't even around 3 years ago when I started making MLS content. So it's like it's something that is completely in the spur of the moment, and I feel like the World Cup is just gonna create these like I mean, dude, there's like streamers streaming their games and then like having like drama off the field and they have their like brother or whoever like filming it 24/7, right? Like this is such a new age of content and I think that is the next push. I do think MLS is actually kind of already there. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw it, but Griezmann being linked to like Orlando City,
sure.
like
Yeah.
that to me, shows me that it's like, whoa, dude, like this is like we're already at a different point in MLS where these guys aren't going to LA, Miami, or New York. Like he's going to Orlando, like, okay,
Sure, yeah.
Disneyland's
Kaká,
great.
you know?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they had Kaká
It's been a
too.
while. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Well,
But
like
it's-
Neymar with Chicago, right? That's a
Right.
link, right? It didn't pan out, but it's another example of like, okay, I think serious big name players are looking at the league in a much different way than they were even just a few years ago. And
Right.
there's much more than 3 different teams in the MLS. Yeah.
And I think MLS is going to start ruffling feathers in 10 years. I think you still need to adjust to that new schedule. You need to definitely make a a salary cap floor because you need to make sure that the quality doesn't drop because
Right.
you don't want to, have the Colorado Rapids kind of getting away with having bare bones of a roster while you have the salary increased or the roster mechanisms gone away. And then all of a sudden Inter Miami has a super team, right? So first you have to put a floor. Then you have to add maybe 5 or 6 DPs. Like it's kind of a joke that we're only at 3 to be honest, because when Liga MX plays, they have like 17 DPs. So it's truly a joke to only be at 3 at this point. I think they literally could sign something tomorrow and make 6 DPs after this World Cup, and every single big star that loves it here in the U.S. and wants to live here sees that the infrastructure is there. Every single team would have a separate go at these guys, and I think that needs to come quick. And I think that should happen, I want to say, before the end of the World Cup. So, but it all depends on the owners and when they meet. The owners meet usually, if I'm not mistaken, at the beginning of the year for the All-Star game. I know that a lot of them meet up wherever the All-Star game is, and then the MLS Cup final. And then those are the 3 moments when, they can make big decisions and vote with the commissioner. But Don Garber's on his way out. So what if this new commissioner comes in and he's really bullish on MLS and competing with the EPL and Serie A and the big leagues in Europe? And he says, no, dude, like we have the infrastructures. The teams are evaluated already at 1.4 billion. They already get crazy valuations. Let's
That's true.
Get the training wheels off this thing and really compete with the biggest leagues in Europe. And I think to actually compete like seriously, we have to attack kind of like Brazil first, the Americas first. And I can see that happening in 5 years, but Brazil's kind of on a crazy up with the amount of money that's going to their league. But I think that's possible, and then after you take over, the Americas and you're the best league in the Americas, then we can start talking about Europe. And I think that's too soon to do it so fast. So I think what we're going to see happen after the World Cup is that the cultural movement is going to be stronger than people expect, and then MLS will follow after that.
Wow.
Yeah, well, do you think we should start posting our futsal highlights then?
Yeah,
I think we should. I think we should. I gotta say, I think you're really correct about the note about having pickup soccer become the more mainstream and more popular. Yeah. I've had friends who have never had any interest in soccer ask me, "Hey, can we go to the park and kick a ball around?" So it doesn't always have to be, super intense match. It can just be passing the ball, learning the fundamentals that sparks that love for people.
And let me tell you this, every single person in the US, like I want to say like 80% or 90% of boys and girls either play baseball or soccer. Mm-hmm. So like every single or every single kid really has some sort of soccer already instilled in them. So if I think this World Cup might reinvite, that nostalgia feeling of playing soccer with your friends again. And I think that's kind of why I have this idea where we kind of grew up, or at least for myself, in this, not 80s and 90s, or not in the 80s, please, 90s and 2000s, where you kind of have this nostalgia for this like soccer mom, AYSO kind of feeling where it was kind of like the bread and butter for my generation, at least, and for generations after. And I feel like with this World Cup, you start getting people that, are in their 30s and they're like, well, shoot, I need to stay active. I think, I know how to play this. I played it when I was a kid. Everybody's playing it. There's so many courts around now. I truly do think that people kind of look at basketball and think, man, that's an injury waiting to happen. Maybe they don't look the same way pickleball kind of picked up, right? But maybe soccer can kind of take up that pickleball kind of hype.
No, and I think you're completely right in the grassroots movement, because there's been a growing lower league movement in the United States to begin with. Leagues like the League for Clubs, as well as the MWPL for the Midwest, are really growing and seeing increased membership as far as clubs as well as fans. So I think that there is a real movement there, but also, in a non-competitive sense, people are seeing small goals pop up all over the place and just looking to have fun, and seeing a cookout going on next to a soccer goal makes it very inviting to anyone in the community. So I hope that you're right, Favian.
No, I mean, I'm already seeing like these pickup soccer places, just like being made on top of rooftops. So there's a company out in Houston and Austin called Vanta where they're making these like rooftop fields, and the field is black. And there's so many creators just going to these fields because it's just great content too. Like the whole content game is completely changing overnight with making it really cool to play pickup soccer.
That's true. I have been seeing more and more creators take off on Instagram and TikTok. So yeah, I agree. I think it's an old game. It's been around, but it could be that next big thing, I guess.
Yeah.
I have another question, kind of circling back to the journalistic side.
Yeah.
Did you always have that dream to be in the journalistic side of soccer, or did you have dreams somewhere else in the soccer world?
It's actually kind of interesting because I grew up playing lots of sports, and I something that always calls back to me when I was a kid is I would be in the back shooting basketball, shooting hoops, and just calling like a sportscaster my shots, counting myself down and things, and I'm kind of like, what, like maybe I could do something in sports where I'm either calling the game or being a part of it. And it's so funny because I like my parents brought some like old stuff that I made back in the day, and it was like, I want to be a sports reporter when I was in fourth grade. So when I was 18, 19, it wasn't my dream. it kind of just came back to me. It always was lingering like, man, if I had friends to make a podcast, I would make a podcast. If I had friends to make a podcast, I would make one. And when the Quakes came back in 2013, because they were in Houston, it was like it kind of reignited me to kind of get season tickets and to be a part of that community again. And then I really kind of thought, okay, well, this is something where, I heard someone have a podcast and he was talking to himself. It was on Tectonic Takes. And it was the first episode. He was just rambling, and I was like, "Dude, let me just hit you up, and like, I could be your co-host, like." And that was, the rest is history. We have 150 shows later. They're still doing the show now, and it's something that I'm super proud of. That I just finally just said I'm gonna do it. Like I don't need the friends. I'll make them. So that's something that I'm always super proud of, and then it just grew from there. So and then I got very lucky with getting a lot of kind of gigs and then getting invited to be in the Quakes press conference because of Matias Almeida speaking Spanish and I speak Spanish. And then it was like a snowball effect there. Another thing that was like kind of like the secret sauce, a lot of San Jose Earthquakes reporters just cover the team, right? But I had ambitions of covering the whole league. And when Hani Mukhtar came into town or Lucho Acosta came into town, I was like, hey, let me, get a interview with the MVP candidate in the league by myself, So it was like, then all of a sudden Cincinnati and Nashville were seeing my news. And then that kind of just easily made the transition possible to kind of go national.
That was a great answer. Ethan, do you have any more questions for our buddy Favian?
I could ask Favian questions for hours, but I'm also kind of itching to build this six-a-side team. So let's get into that and let's really test his ball knowledge because he's covered the league. He's talked to all these MVP candidates. All right. Yeah, we get it.
My bad.
No, I'm just messing, dude. Talk your shit. Let's get into your team, though. Do you want to start from the front or the back?
Let's start from the back. Let's do this.
Before we start, let's talk formation. What formation are you picking for this six players?
So what I've kind of learned with everything is, at least with the first week, I'm kind of learning this game with you guys, honestly. For me, it's harder to choose defenders because defenders are so hit and miss, man. Like I learned, the first week I had Blackman, Tim Ream, I had Justin Hack, who played in the midfield.
I did see that.
Yeah, and then Jakob Glesnes. And they all kind of scored like 50 to 60 points. They didn't really go crazy. I think Blackman maybe had 80. But I was kind of like, the less defenders, the better, So I'm going to go with the 1-2-2. So one defender or a goalkeeper, one defender, two midfield, and two strikers. Mm-hmm. But we learned, I went with Kalina, and Kalina was really trying to, stop St. Louis from winning, right?
You don't got to remind me.
Yeah.
I think he had 7 saves on the day.
Which Kalina was actually the best Kickbase goalkeeper going into this year because he had a lot of saves last year. But what we learned with watching the Orlando City Red Bull game is that Crepeau was the best goalkeeper in the game because the guy was just getting pelted. And even though he didn't keep a clean sheet, it didn't really matter too much. It just matters if a goalie's going to get pelted a lot. So with that kind of mentality, I think you don't have to spend too much on the goalkeeper. You just need to spend it on a goalkeeper that is gonna get worked this next upcoming week.
Picking a goalkeeper from a bad team kind of pays off, right?
A little bit, right? So that's kind of what we're gonna be talking about too on our podcast for Kickbase. And what I kind of went with was Daniel is going to be playing Atlanta for the San Jose Earthquakes, and I feel like if I'm not mistaken, Atlanta's at home. I do think he's going to have a couple of saves in there. So with his valuation right now, I kind of have he's kind of maybe the lesser half of the league. I have him at my goalkeeper.
I like that pick. That's a solid pick.
From the San Jose OG. Had to pick him. Had to pick him.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. Last week I had a lot of San Jose guys because I just felt like in anything.
It paid off.
It probably worked out great for you. Yeah.
I've got Nico Sakiris.
Yeah, Sakiris. Yeah, that was a savvy pick I had. last week. So and Bill LaRue, they were both kind of crazy.
Yeah, LaRue snapped this week.
Yeah.
All right,
So
let's move into that midfield, huh? Or that defense.
Yeah, the defense.
Your
So the
one
defense,
defender.
the defense is a little tough because what I learned is like you want to kind of get an outside back. That's what I'm thinking about right now.
Sure.
I don't think you want a center back. I mean, I chose like maybe the three best center backs in the league, and none of them had a crazy amount of points. I do expect Miami to bounce back, so I'm going to go with Ian Frey on this one. I think Ian Frey's price is probably pretty low right now because he had a bad game. He got subbed out. So that's 13 million, and then Daniel was about 14. So I have about 12 million a player basically for the midfield and the striker. So this is gonna be tough.
It's not bad, but it's not a lot.
It's gonna be tight. So let's go to the midfield now. Shoot, this is hard. I think I might have to go with the same guy I went with, and that's Nico Sikiris. I think he's gonna have actually his price I think is underrated, but I think he's gonna go up in price. But let's say for the sake of the argument, I won't go Nico Sikiris. I will go. This is tough. Jonathan Osorio was a solid pick. I mean, if Toronto's going to do anything, he was kind of like a sneaky pick on my last week's lineup. And if I feel like, yeah,
no, he's basically guaranteed to be playing.
Right. And guaranteed to be kind of facilitating for that team because he is, kind of like a TFC legend at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and go Osorio for that. And then for my second midfielder, let's I don't know. I think you got to look at the teams that lost this week and the guys who didn't do too well to kind of get them on the cheap, especially doing 100 for your budget. I think. Let me see here.
This is where you're being tested.
Hey, St. Louis City's budget is probably like 20 mil, so I don't know.
Yeah. Because I don't want to spend too much on this pick, because then I can maybe go a little crazier with at least the forwards, right? So, Cavan is gonna kind of pop off one of these games.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how much he's going to get used. I mean, I think this season is going to be that season where he does have to make his stake in the team in Philly. So I'm excited to see what he does. And
bro, I'm seeing where some Philly fans are calling for him to start already over Indiana Vasilev, which is crazy.
So my thing is, I started Kelsey in one of my leagues for Portland, and he didn't start, and he still ended up with 80 points, and he played like 20 minutes. So sometimes, if a guy's going to come on and make a goal contribution, you can kind of risk that, Cavan's price is pretty good. I know he's going to get minutes, so I'm kind of liking that. Like, is Diego Luna injured? Is he coming back? Should I go with the RSL guy? Because you might get them very cheap. So it's just kind of interesting. You could take this totally different ways, the way you want to. So I'm going to probably keep it with Cavan for the sake of this, because I kind of want to see him have a goal, even if he's off the bench.
Crazy.
MLS marketing 101. Put
exactly. Because he's gonna need to, right? Like he has to do it. So now we have 25 mil per striker, and let's just go with one that I think off the bat, I think this is a good price for him. And he's not a striker; he's kind of like a winger /10. But I'm gonna go with Facundo Torres. I think Facundo Torres, being at 25 mil, he's gonna have to pop off. I think he didn't play too well in the first game, but Austin kind of needs to find their groove. And that's kind of the game to do it. And then the last person I have 26 mil. So I actually have a little bit more than I expected.
Okay.
Drop a band here.
What's funny is, like, I'm looking at this and I kind of like Latte Loth's price at 21 million.
Interesting.
Against the San Jose Earthquakes.
Keeper versus striker.
Against your goalkeeper, though.
But you only lose 5 points per goal. So it's like, it's not too crazy to kind of put two guys against each other. And Latte Loth has to score. Like, this can't be another season where he has this. Tyber at 24 million is a little crazy because I do expect his price to go up a little bit. And he's against Austin. I still think Latte Loth is a better play here versus San Jose, so let's go that. And then we have an extra 4.6 million. So I filled out my roster with 100K with 4.6 million. Now, I mean, since Kevin is kind of a risky play, I'm probably going to change that real quick since we have a little bit of extra money here. And let's see.
I thought you were just gonna put that 4.6 in the bank, throw it in your pocket, and
No, you can't. You can't do that. You got to use it all. So
Most definitely.
get a little sandwich or something. I don't know.
Right. This is funny. So we have a Play the Pro League in Kickbase where I play against the pros, and I was kind of looking at these guys' lineups, and Hanny was really high on a lot of Nashville players, and I know he's a Nashville player, but he had Tag Seth like pretty much in his lineup, like set and forget. So I'm gonna go ahead and go with him instead of Kevin.
Did any of those pros pick themselves on their own?
Yes,
team? Yeah.
yes. Thomas Mueller and Hanny both captained themselves.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
What was really cute too
that
was
energy.
Bo LaRue from the San Jose Earthquakes. He actually captained Christian Espinoza, and I was like, "Oh, that's really awesome."
Yeah.
But that was a sweet little.
Wow. All right, Fabian. Yeah, that's a really good team, man.
Yeah. So I'm hoping this
we're
five-side team can do some damage.
Well, I'll keep track. Maybe we'll shout it out in the next episode. See
Grayson needs to build his
Let's see how they
team.
did it.
Yeah, build your team, Grayson, and I'll build mine, and we can put them up, see whose team should win the league.
All right, deal.
The Favian Super League.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Well,
right.
Anything else you want to plug the app, drop some knowledge, or anything else you got going on?
Yeah, look, I mean, we had a launch party here in New York for Fantasy MLS, and we're trying to do something that's literally never have been done before. I mean, we're making some crazy content where I was dressed up in a bunny suit.
Yeah, man, giving me good laughs on Instagram.
Doing like fantasy, what it's called? Excuse me. When you lose a fantasy game, punishments. Yeah.
Punishment.
When you're doing fantasy punishments and like. Just, check us out. We're doing something kind of crazy. We're doing something kind of new, something that's never done before. So I'm truly excited to be a part of Kickbase and kind of like making it so that like fantasy football people realize that, hey, this can be fun too, So that's kind of where I bring my knowledge from my prior lives and kind of put it all together.
Well, hey, fantasy football is what got me back into loving the NFL again. So hopefully this awesome app that you guys have created will bring some people to the game. I'm very excited, and I think it'll happen. I think it'll work.
I appreciate that. I'm excited for it too. Hey, this might help grow MLS, so I'm always happy for that too.
Most definitely. I'm having a lot of fun doing it, encouraging my friends to join. So make sure you do it too. Sign up for the City Boys League as well.
Yeah.
We're going to be competing, man. We're excited to see it. Obviously, I captain Marcel Hartel, and I'm very happy with my decision. So
Kickbase is based off in Germany, so that they were the biggest kind of fantasy app in Germany. And when people saw Hartel going crazy in MLS, they were like, "Whoa, we know that guy!" All the Germans were going crazy seeing a known name, so they were happy.
That's cool.
Sick.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, once again, I want to thank Mr. Favian Renkel for joining us on the pod this week as our first guest of 2026 and the first guest of City Boys Season 3. So, clap it up a little bit.
Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
Well deserved.
Thanks for blessing us with your ball knowledge and these good picks for our Kickbase teams. Oh, hello, Bandit. So, yeah, finally, before you go, the most important thing, do not forget to tell your mother you love her. Peace. STL. All right, we'll call it.
St. Louis City Boys, what it do? From the arch to the booth, we talk about you. City Boys in the loop. City Boys in the loop. City Boys. Turn it up, run it back, that's the crew. That's the crew. From the stands to the streets, we true. St. Louis, City Boys in the loop. Red red smoke in the sky. Game day in the eye. Every play, every fight, we gon' break it down right.